For me, I have an incredible empathy with the animals that are on fur farms and in the wild and steel jaw leg hold traps, because they are my relations and they are suffering just as my ancestors suffered. And the fur trade today is the modern incarnation of those very same people who murdered and destroyed my people and my homelands. I'm a member of the Pasquayaqui Nation, and as an indigenous person, the fur trade represents so much more to me than just animal abuse. It represents cultural genocide. They were the foot soldiers of invasion and conquest in the New World. They were the ones who introduced disease, alcoholism. They were the ones who introduced gunpowder and many, many things that led to our decimation. It is a slap in the face to any indigenous person that the people who are most responsible for our genocide are also now claiming to be concerned about our well-being. They're just exploiting us one step further. The extension of the fur trade into the 20th and 21st century is a continuation of that genocide. Only now that its impact has been so detrimental to the indigenous human people, it is now continually being directed towards indigenous animal people. I was exposed to such an extreme level of animal cruelty and abuse via documentaries and through newsletters and magazines and newspapers that I became involved in direct action and began a very effective ALF cell that into the 80s and 90s eventually elevated to raiding university laboratories and government research institutions. My ancestors who fought for the very same thing made a much greater sacrifice than any that I will know in my life. And if I have to go to prison for a few years to represent that struggle, then so be it. It is still an honor for me to do so. And to have the label of terrorist, extremist, violent offender or criminal leveled against us by the people who themselves are responsible for an incredible amount of suffering, torture, and realistically terrorism, violent terrorism, is ludicrous. I think that society and people in the public only have to look at who has the blood on their hands to recognize who the really violent members of our society are. So as long as our government fails to answer to the majority of the public's concern for animals and the environment, they could be damn sure there's going to be an increase of actions against them by people who have no faith in the government. This struggle is much older than anybody alive today. It's about earth rights, it's about water rights, air rights, rock rights, the rights of every natural creation to survive. It is a sacred resistance that has continued ever since the worldview came into being that saw nature and animals and people as a commodity and a resource. I can face my grandchildren in the future, and when they ask me what I did to protect the environment and prevent species from going extinct, I can tell them, look them straight in the eye and tell them I did everything humanly possible.